All rights to the characters and storyline of Fruits Basket belong solely to its creators and copyright holders. This text is a fan-created interpretation and does not claim any ownership or official affiliation with the creators or distributors of Fruits Basket. All references to the characters and their development are based on the original work and are intended solely for entertainment and discussion purposes. Unexpected Allure. Chapter 1. Tohru, Kyo, Yuki, Hanajima, and Uotani walked into the bar, the vibrant energy of the place immediately enveloping them. The dim lighting, colorful neon signs, and the hum of conversation created a cozy yet lively atmosphere. The group settled into a spacious booth, the chatter and laughter flowing easily among them. As the night went on, they enjoyed a variety of drinks and snacks, sharing stories and jokes. Hanajima and Uotani, always the most spontaneous of the group, kept exchanging glances and nudges as they sipped their drinks. Their eyes sparkled with a hint of mischief. "You know, Tohru," Hanajima said, leaning closer to her friend with a grin, "you should get up and sing something. I bet you'd be amazing." Tohru's face turned a shade of pink, and she shook her head rapidly. "Oh no, I couldn't possibly. I'm not comfortable with performing." Uotani chimed in, her voice teasing but encouraging. "Come on, Tohru, it'll be fun. We're all here and we'll be cheering you on." Kyo, ever the enthusiastic supporter, joined in with a playful nudge. "Yeah, Tohru, why not show everyone what you've got?" Despite Tohru's protest, her friends were relentless, their encouraging growing louder and more insistent. The playful shouts of "Come on, Tohru, and you can do it" were impossible to ignore. Before she knew it, she found herself being gently but firmly guided towards the small stage in the corner of the bar. As Tohru approached the stage, her heart raced and she could feel the eyes of the entire bar on her. The spotlight seemed blinding, and her anxiety grew with every step. She glanced back at her friends, who were giving her thumbs up and supportive grins, and then at Kyo and Yuki, who were watching her with eager anticipation. Tohru took a deep breath as she reached the stage, her hands trembling as she grabbed the microphone. The DJ, sensing her nervousness, queued up Olivia Rodrigo's Obsessed. Tohru's stomach dropped. She wasn't familiar with the song, and a wave of panic. The upbeat rhythm and the driving lyrics seemed far from her usual style. With a shaky breath, she began to sing. Her voice wavered at first as she stumbled over the lyrics, but the crowd's expectant silence and her friends' encouraging smiles pushed her to keep going. Gradually, as she started to get into the groove of the song, her nerves began to settle. The rhythm of the music took over and she began to let go. Kyo, watching from the edge of the stage, was completely enthralled. The sight of Tohru, usually so reserved and sweet, now showing such a boldness and energy, was captivating. Her performance was a revelation, and he found himself unable to look away. There was something undeniably magnetic about her transformation, and he was drawn in by every note. As the song reached its climax, Tohru's confidence soared. She sang with a newfound confidence, her performance a far cry from the shy girl who had first taken the stage. The crowd's applause grew louder, and by the time the song ended, the bar was filled with cheers and appreciative claps. Breathless and flushed with the exertion of her performance, Tohru made her way back to the booth. She plopped down with an embarrassed laugh, covering her face with her hands. "I can't believe I did that," she said, her voice muffled. "I'm so embarrassed." Kyo leaned in, his eyes gleaming with admiration. "I thought you were amazing," he said with a wide grin on his face. He leaned closely so only she could hear, his voice low and gravelly. "Honestly, you were pretty sexy up there." Tohru's eyes shot open in surprise, and her face turned an even deeper shade of red. She glanced at her Kyo, her heart racing at his unexpected compliment. "Really?" she managed to ask, her voice barely above a whisper. Kyo nodded, still grinning. "Absolutely. I loved it." The rest of the group joined in, their laughter and cheers adding to the warm atmosphere. Hanajima and Uotani high-fived each other, clearly thrilled with their friend's performance. Yuki gave Tohru a friendly pat on the back, his smile genuine. The rest of the night was filled with continued laughter and good cheer. The group's bond felt stronger than ever, with the impromptu performance adding a memorable highlight to their evening. Unexpected Allure, Chapter 2. A few weeks later, the group found themselves back at the same lively bar where they had shared so many memorable nights. This time, Haru, Momiji, and Kagura had joined the fun, adding an extra layer of excitement to the evening. The bar was alive with music, laughter, and the clinking of glasses, creating an atmosphere that felt both vibrant and cozy. Tohru, Kyo, Yuki, Hanajima, and Uotani were already at a large booth near the stage, enjoying the lively ambiance and catching up. The night started with drinks, delicious appetizers, and playful banter. The group's energy was infectious, and it wasn't long before Hanajima and Uotani began hinting at another potential stage performance. "You know, Tohru," Hanajima said with a mischievous grin, "you should get up there and sing again. It was so much fun last time." Uotani, not missing a beat, chimed in with her characteristic enthusiasm. Yes, and now that Haru, Momiji, and Kagura are here, they're all excited to see you perform. It'd be great. Haru, Momiji, and Kagura, eagerly listening to the conversation, nodded vigorously. We'd love to see you sing, Haru explained, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Tohru, feeling the mounting pressure from all sides, hesitated. She had enjoyed her previous performance, but the thought of doing it again, especially with the added excitement of new friends watching, made her nervous. She tried to express her reluctance, but her friend's enthusiasm was too overwhelming. Come on, Tohru, Yuki encouraged, his smile warm. It's all in good fun, and we're here to support you. Before she could protest further, Hanajima and Uotani and the rest of the group had already nudged her towards the stage. The crowd's excited murmur grew louder as Tohru took the stage, her heart pounding with anticipation and dread. Kyo watched from the side of the stage, his expression curious. As she reached for the microphone, the DJ announced the next song, and Tohru's heart sank. The opening chords to Meghan Trainor's To the Moon began to play. It was one of her favorite songs, but she was well aware of Kyo's aversion to it. The thought of performing a song he didn't like made her feel more anxious. Despite her apprehension, Tohru took a deep breath and started to sing. The crowd watched intently, and Tohru could feel the anticipation building. Hanajima and Uotani offered encouraging smiles from the sidelines, while Kyo's initial expression of discomfort was evident. As the song continued, however, Tohru began to lose herself in the music. The familiar melody, which she had always loved, gradually helped her overcome her nervousness. She found her rhythm and started to embrace the song's upbeat and cheerful vibe. Her usual soft and gentle demeanor gave way to a more passionate and confident performance. Her movements became more fluid, her voice stronger, and her energy more vibrant. Kyo, initially cringing at the song choice, found himself captivated by Tohru's transformation. The way she threw herself into the performance with such genuine joy and enthusiasm was magnetic. Her presence on the stage was electrifying, and he couldn't take his eyes off of her. The earlier discomfort he felt about the song faded as he became enthralled by her. Tohru's confidence grew with every verse, and by the time the song reached its climax, she was fully immersed in the performance. The crowd responded with enthusiastic cheers and applause, their energy matching Tohru's. The atmosphere was charged with excitement, and Tohru's radiant smile and lively performance left a lasting impression. When the song ended, Tohru, breathless and flushed with exertion, returned to her friends at the booth. She sat down, her cheeks still pink from the performance, and looked around with a mix of relief and exhilaration. I can't believe I did that again, she said, laughing nervously. Kyo leaned in close, his eyes glowing with admiration. I have to admit, I wasn't thrilled about the song at first, but you were incredible. You made it something special. Tohru's eyes widened and a warm flush spread across her face. She looked at Kyo, her heart racing at his unexpected compliment. Really? I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Kyo nodded, his gaze intense. I couldn't take my eyes off you. The rest of the group joined in with cheers and congratulations, their excitement palpable. Haru, Momiji, and Kagura were particularly enthusiastic, praising Tohru's performance and expressing their enjoyment. Hanajima and Uotani exchanged a satisfied smile, clearly thrilled with how the evening had unfolded. As the night continued, the group's camaraderie deepened. They enjoyed more drinks, shared stories, and laughed about the night's events. Tohru's performance had become a highlight of the evening, and the bond among them felt stronger than ever. Kyo, still caught up in the afterglow of Tohru's performance, found himself looking forward to the rest of the night with eager anticipation. The connection he felt with her during the performance lingered, and he couldn't wait to continue their time together once they were alone. Unexpected Allure, Chapter 3. The Soma family gathered for one of their usual family functions, filled with warmth, laughter, and the delicious aroma of home-cooked food. Tohru and Kyo were enjoying the relaxing atmosphere, catching up with various family members and savoring the comfort of being surrounded by loved ones. The evening was passing pleasantly until Shigure, with his characteristic mischief, stood up to make an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, Shigure called out with a playful grin, it's time for some karaoke. I'm sure everyone will have a blast. Excited murmurs spread through the room, and people began to gather around the karaoke setup. Tohru and Kyo exchanged amused glances. Kyo was particularly intrigued, knowing that Tohru's singing had been a hit at their previous outing. He could tell she was slightly apprehensive, but was clearly enjoying the family's warm reception. Unbeknownst to Tohru, Haru, who had a knack for playful surprises, had secretly slipped a song into the queue. He knew Tohru's singing prowess and wanted to add a bit of fun to the night. When Shigure called for the next performer, he scanned the crowd and his eyes landed on Tohru and Kyo. Tohru, how about you come up and grace us with a performance? Tohru hesitated, her face turning a bit pale. Oh, I don't think so. I'm not up for it tonight. Kyo, sensing her reluctance, but also knowing how much she enjoyed singing, leaned in with flirty eyes and a warm smile. "Come on, Tohru, I'd love to hear you sing again." Feeling a mix of nervousness and determination and not wanting to let Kyo down, Tohru agreed. She took a deep breath and made her way to the stage. As she looked at the screen, the familiar tune of Jenny began to play, and she felt a rush of embarrassment. The song's suggestive lyrics and upbeat tempo felt out of place for a family gathering, and she was unsure how to handle it. As she stood there, scanning the room filled with family, her anxiety grew. The idea of singing such a provocative song in front of her family made her cheeks flush with embarrassment. Her eyes darted around, seeking a familiar face that could offer her comfort. When her gaze landed on Kyo, he met her eyes and gave her a reassuring wink. The simple gesture, full of love and encouragement, gave her the courage she needed. Tohru took a deep breath and began to sing. At first, her voice was timid and her movements were hesitant. She tried to focus on the lyrics, not let her discomfort overwhelm her. The crowd watched intently, and Tohru could feel their anticipation building. Friends were cheering her on, their support evident. Even the usually reserved Yuki had a proud smile on his face. As the song continued, Tohru began to find her footing. The familiar melody, which she had always loved, gradually helped her overcome her nervousness. She found her rhythm and started to embrace the song's upbeat and flirtatious vibe. Her movements became more fluid, her voice stronger, and her energy more vibrant. She even started to dance a little, her body moving with the music in a way that was both playful and confident. Kyo, initially cringing at the song choice, found himself completely captivated by Tohru's transformation. The way she threw herself into the performance with genuine joy and enthusiasm was magnetic. Her presence on stage was electrifying, and he couldn't take his eyes off of her. The earlier discomfort she felt about the song faded, and he became enthralled by her. Tohru's confidence grew with every verse, and by the time the song reached its bridge, she was fully immersed into the performance. She glanced around her family, their faces lit up with smiles and applause. The atmosphere was filled with a sense of celebration, and Tohru's radiant smile reflected her joy. When the song ended, the room erupted in cheers and applause. Tohru, breathless and flushed with exhilaration, returned to her friends at the table. She sat down, her cheeks still pink from the performance, and looked around with a mix of relief. "I can't believe I just sang that song," she said, laughing nervously. Kyo, his eyes still glowing with admiration, took her hand. "You were incredible, Tohru." He led her away from the crowd, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Tohru followed him, her curiosity piqued. Kyo guided her to a small closet near the back of the house. The door creaked as he opened it, and the dim light inside cast shadows on the wall. Once inside, Kyo closed the door behind them, turning to face Tohru with an intense gaze. "Tohru," he said, his voice low and filled with affection, "your performance was amazing." Tohru's heart raced as she looked up at him. Kyo's gaze was filled with a mix of desire and admiration. She could feel the heat of his gaze, and it made her breath catch in her throat. Before she could respond, Kyo pulled her close and kissed her deeply. The kiss was full of passion, and Tohru responded with equal fervor, their hands finding their way to his shoulders. The small, secluded space amplified their connection. Kyo's hands roamed over her, his touch making her shiver with excitement. He pressed her gently but firmly against the wall of the closet, his desire evident. The thrill of their secret rendezvous, combined with the electrifying effect of her performance, had left him eager for more. Tohru responded to his touch, her own desire building as their kiss deepened. Kyo's hand slid down her waist, pulling her closer. The intimacy of the moment was heightened by the quiet of the closet, making every touch and kiss feel more intense. As their passion grew, Kyo's hand explored further, his touches sending waves of pleasure through Tohru. The space was small, but it felt like a private sanctuary, where their love and desire could fully unfold. The connection between them was palpable, and they lost themselves in each other's embrace. After their intimate moment, Kyo and Tohru composed themselves and returned to the family gathering, their bond ever stronger, their hearts full from the shared experience. The rest of the evening was filled with joy, laughter, and a sense of deep connection. As they rejoined the family, Kyo's gaze toward Tohru was filled with a newfound warmth, and Tohru's smile reflected her happiness. The night had been full of surprises and emotions, leaving them both with cherished memories and a deeper appreciation for their relationship. Hi, my name is Angel. I hope you liked this. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe. If you want to hear more, check out my website, or if you want my books in an easier to read format, check out my Wattpad. Bye! Unexpected Allure, Chapter 4. The day of Yuki's wedding arrived with a perfect blend of elegance and joy. The ceremony had been a touching celebration of love, and as the evening unfolded, the reception buzzed with excitement. The grand venue was beautifully decorated, with twinkling lights, floral arrangements, and a lively dance floor. The guests mingled, enjoying delicious food and exchanging heartfelt conversations. As the evening progressed, Shigure made a playful announcement. "All right, everyone, it's time for some karaoke. Let's make this night unforgettable." The announcement was met with enthusiastic applause. Guests eagerly gathered around the karaoke setup, the air quickly filled with the sounds of music and laughter. The energy in the room was infectious, and soon people were taking turns showcasing their singing talents. Machi, Yuki's new wife, had heard tales of Tohru's karaoke prowess and had been keen to experience it firsthand. She had been charmed by what she had heard about Tohru's previous performances and had heard about her talent from family members. With a bright smile, she approached Tohru with the request. "Tohru," Machi said with a warm, inviting smile, "I've heard so much about your amazing karaoke performance. It would mean a lot to me if you could sing for us." Tohru, taken aback by the request, felt a mix of nerves and excitement. She had enjoyed her past karaoke experiences, but performing at a wedding, especially one as special as Yuki's, made her apprehensive. However, she didn't want to disappoint Machi, so she agreed with a gracious nod. Machi's eyes sparkled with excitement, and she selected the song for Tohru. She chose "Let's Be Friends" by Emily Osment, a song with a catchy beat and flirtatious lyrics. The DJ queued up the track, and when the music began, Tohru felt a familiar flutter of anxiety. The song's suggestive tone and playful lyrics seemed so out of place for a formal wedding, and she glanced around nervously. Kyo, who had been chatting with some of the guests, noticed Tohru's apprehensive expression. His protective instincts kicked in, and he felt a surge of support and concern. He knew how much Tohru enjoyed singing, but this particular song was more risque than she was used to performing in such settings. Tohru took a deep breath. As she approached the stage, she could see Kyo watching her, his gaze filled with encouragement. With a determined heart, she stepped up to the microphone. The room felt silent as everyone awaited for her performance. As the song began, Tohru hesitated for a moment, her nerves almost getting the better of her. Then she took another deep breath and focused on the supportive presence of Kyo and the encouraging smiles from the guests. With a growing sense of determination, she began to sing. From the first note, Tohru embraced the song with newfound confidence. Her voice was clear and vibrant, and her movements became more fluid and expressive. She engaged with the song's playful and flirtatious nature, her performance growing more dynamic as she danced and sang. Her energy was infectious, and the room quickly became captivated by her presence. Kyo watched from the side of the stage, his admiration growing with each passing moment. The way Tohru owned the performance was mesmerizing. Her confidence and charisma transformed the song from something potentially awkward into a thrilling display of her talent. Kyo could hardly contain himself, his feelings of desire and admiration intensifying with each of her sultry moves. As Tohru continued, she became completely immersed in the performance. She moved with a playful elegance, her gaze often meeting Kyo's. His supportive, loving look provided her with the strength to fully embrace the song. The crowd responded with cheers and applause, clearly enjoying every moment. When the song ended, the audience erupted into enthusiastic applause. Tohru, breathless and flushed, made her way back to her seat. She felt a deep sense of accomplishment and relief, her nerves replaced by the thrill. Kyo was quick to reach her, his eyes shining with pride and desire. He pulled her into a warm, tight embrace, his hands resting on her back. "Tohru," he whispered in a low, husky voice, "you were incredible." Tohru looked up at him, her heart racing from both the singing and his intense glare. "Thank you, Kyo. I was nervous, but I'm glad you enjoyed it." Kyo's eyes held a mischievous glint as he leaned in closer. "I enjoyed it more than you can imagine. You got me feeling like maybe we should find someplace a little more private." Tohru's breath caught in her throat at his words. She felt a thrill of excitement and anticipation. "Where did you have in mind?" she asked softly. Kyo took her hand and led her through the quiet corridor, away from the bustling reception. They navigated through the elegantly decorated venue, finding a small, unoccupied bathroom near the back of the house. The sound of the party faded, leaving them in a secluded, dimly lit space. Once inside, Kyo locked the door and turned to face Tohru. His gaze was filled with a mixture of desire and affection. "Tohru," he said, his voice low and filled with intimacy, "I want to show you just how much you affect me." Tohru's heart raced as she looked up at him. The small, intimate space felt like a private sanctuary, amplifying their connection. Kyo pulled her close, his lips finding hers in a passionate kiss. The kiss was deep and fervent, filled with the desire that had been building throughout the evening. Tohru responded eagerly, her hands finding the way to Kyo. They confined space at the bathroom, intensifying the sensation, making every touch and kiss feel more intimate. Their bodies pressed together, and they allowed themselves to fully indulge in the moment. Kyo's hand explored Tohru's body, his touch sending waves of pleasure through her. She moaned softly as he trailed kisses down her neck, his hands sliding along her curves. The bathroom, with its dim lit and seclusion, became a haven for their love and desire. Tohru's senses were heightened, every touch and whisper from Kyo making her shiver with excitement. They moved together with a sense of urgency, their desire taking over as they lost themselves in each other's embrace. The thrill of their secret rendezvous, combined with the electrifying effects of her performance, created an unforgettable experience. As their passion reached its peak, they found a release in each other's arms, their connection deepened by the shared intensity. Afterward, they took a moment to catch their breath, their bodies still tingling from the experience. Kyo looked at Tohru with a tender, affectionate smile. "You were incredible tonight," he said softly, "both on stage and here." Tohru giggled, her heart full from the night's events and their intimate connection. "Thank you, Kyo." They composed themselves and rejoined the wedding festivities. The rest of the evening was filled with joy, laughter, and a sense of deep connection. As they danced and celebrated with the rest of the guests, the memories of the night and their private experience remained a cherished part of their journey together. Unexpected Allure, Chapter 5. Tohru and Kyo attended a family birthday party for a distant cousin they hardly knew. The event was bustling with unfamiliar faces and lively conversation, which made Tohru feel a bit overwhelmed. Despite the kind intentions behind their attendance, she found herself needing a moment of solitude away from the crowded room. Excusing herself, Tohru wandered through the venue, her steps taking her further away from the noise and commotion. She came across a small, elegantly decorated room tucked away from the main area. It was quiet and peaceful, a stark contrast to the lively party outside. In the corner of the room stood a grand piano, its polished surface reflecting the soft light. A wave of nostalgia washed over Tohru as she approached the piano. Memories of the piano lessons she had with her mother filled her mind, bringing a bittersweet smile to her lips. She gently placed her glass on a nearby table and sat down on the bench, running her fingers lightly over the keys. The familiar feel of the instrument brought a sense of comfort and warmth. Kyo, having noticed Tohru's absence, went looking for her. When he saw her in the room with the piano, he paused at the doorway, intrigued by the serene look on her face. For a moment, he thought about joining her, but he hesitated, sensing that she might play. He decided to wait, wanting to witness. Tohru took a deep breath and opened the piano. Her fingers hovered above the keys for a moment before she began to play, filling the room with a beautiful, familiar melody. The notes flowed effortlessly, each one resonating with the love and nostalgia she felt. Kyo watched in awe, a smile spreading across his face as he recognized the tune. As Tohru's fingers moved gracefully over the keys, she began to sing the opening lines of "Distance" by Christina Perri and Jason Mraz. Her voice was soft and full of motion, blending perfectly with the piano's melody. Kyo was captivated by her performance, his heart swelling with admiration and love. Feeling a surge of emotion, Kyo decided to join in. He stepped in the room and began singing the male part of the duet, his voice blending harmoniously with Tohru's. She looked up, momentarily surprised, but quickly smiled. Her eyes sparkling with joy. Their voices intertwined beautifully, creating a magical moment that felt timeless. As they sang, Yuki, who had noticed Tohru's earlier discomfort, came to check on her. He stopped just outside the door, drawn in by the beautiful music. He watched in silent awe, his heart touched by the love and harmony between Tohru and Kyo. He wiped his eyes and headed back to the party. When the song ended, the room fell into a peaceful silence. Kyo walked over to Tohru and gently kissed her, their connection deepened by the shared performance. Tohru's eyes were brimming with tears, her heart overflowing with emotion. "What's wrong?" Kyo asked softly, brushing a tear from her cheek. Tohru smiled through her tears, her voice filled with love. I love you so much, Kyo." Kyo's heart swelled with affection as he gazed at her. "I love you too, Tohru, more than you could ever know." Tohru took a deep breath, her expression becoming a mixture of joy and nervous. "Kyo, I'm pregnant." Kyo's eyes widened in shock and disbelief. They quickly softened with overwhelming joy. "You're really? That's amazing." Tohru nodded, her eyes sparkling with tears. "We're gonna have a baby." Kyo enveloped Tohru in a tender embrace, his heart overflowing with love and anticipation. They had each other close, savoring the profound connection they shared in the new chapter that lay ahead of them. The moment was filled with sweetness and nurturing tenderness as they embraced each other, their hearts full of love for their growing family. The love they shared, expressed through their song and their intimate revelation, created a bond that was stronger than ever. As they enjoyed each other's company, the rest of the party continued outside. But for Tohru and Kyo, the world seemed to revolve around their private, cherished moment. In that quiet room, surrounded by echoes of their music and the warmth of their love, they savored the anticipation of the future, their hearts united in the joy of their new beginning. Hi, my name is Angel. I hope you like this. If you did, please give a like and subscribe. If you want to hear more, check out my website, or if you want my books in an easier to read format, check out my Wattpad. Bye!